this time we are covering ser and estar because honestly, it is probably one of the hardest things in Spanish to master. Hello guys, it's Katy and welcome back to yet another video. If you're ready and you're done scratching your head over and over on which one to use and when to use them, that's exactly what we're going to cover in this video. I am also going to explain some of the most common mistakes made in Spanish, and I will give you some tips and tricks on how to make your Spanish sound a little bit more natural. First section. Use ser for permanent and estar for temporary. Well, yes, mostly. Probably you already heard this rule, right? But you have to remember that estar is mainly used for emotions and for locations as well. Let's look at these examples. Estoy feliz. I am happy. Or está cansado. He is tired. Because we are talking about emotions. Emotions change. Easy, right? So we use estar in that situation. However, we are also going to use estar for locations. If we want to describe where something is located, we are going to use the verb estar. For instance, the shop is in the corner. La tienda está en la esquina. Even though the store doesn't move, we still use estar in this situation. Section number 2, descriptions and conditions. Another common mistake that learners use with ser and estar is that they often use ser when they should use estar to describe how something is at that moment. So we are going to use ser when you want to say what something is. La sopa es deliciosa. The soup is delicious. This is a general statement about all the soup. However, if you want to talk about the soup right now, at this very moment in front of you, you're going to say, la sopa está deliciosa. Here you're making a distinction on how the soup is. This might sound like a really little thing, but trust me, when you're talking, this really sets up the difference between an amateur and a natural. So if you want to improve your Spanish, better know that difference. Section number 3, characteristics versus feelings. When you're talking about more permanent statements, you want to use ser. For instance, él es aburrido. He is boring. That's a permanent characteristic. He can't really change it unless he works on it. But if you say, él está aburrido, he is bored at that moment. And a fun fact, for Spanish learners, it's so hard to get ser and estar, but for English learners, it's so hard to distinguish between the ing adjectives and the ed adjectives. So yeah, it's kind of fair. Now in section number 4, we are going to discuss how to avoid these common mistakes. But honestly, do not get too fixated on when and how to avoid these mistakes, because the only way you're actually going to learn a language is by constant practice, and of course making mistakes is a part of it. So my first tip would be to ask yourself, probably you already noticed, but when you're talking, ask yourself, do I want to describe something that is permanent, something that is temporary? Do I want to describe how something is or what something is? And that will tell you whether it's ser or estar. And if you're really serious, interested, and invested in learning Spanish, do not hesitate to check out Spanish55.com. Here, yes, you can have a free consultation, but also if you do subscribe, you get to have your own tutor who happens to be a certified native Spanish speaker who will help you tailor your own lessons to achieve your own goals at your own pace. Well, there you have it, guys. Start learning, start practicing, and start mastering ser and estar. Because this way, you're not only going to get more confident in your Spanish when you're actually speaking Spanish, but people around you, when they hear you, they would be like, hey, this guy is really good at speaking Spanish. If you like this video and you found it useful, please hit the like button. Remember to subscribe and leave the comments down below. Maybe an idea for the next video. What are some other common mistakes or maybe other tips that you've noticed while learning Spanish? just let them all in the comment section. I will see you in the next video. Hasta la próxima!